The Kena Upanishad in simple English, presented by Swayam Sharma. We begin the Upanishad with an invocation to God. O Supreme Lord, may all my limbs, my speech, my breath, my eyes, my ears, my strength, and all my senses always be vigorous. The all powerful Supreme is Brahm of the Upanishads. May I never discard Brahm. May Brahm never discard me. May there be no discarding. May there be no discarding of me. May the truths that are stated in the Upanishad always live in me, dedicated to the self, dedicated to the Atma. Om, peace, peace, peace. The Kena Upanishad derives its name from the first word of the Upanishad, Ken, meaning by whom. The Upanishad belongs to the Talvakar Brahman of the Sama Veda and is also known as the Talvakar. It is one of the 11 principal Upanishads of the Hindu religion. The Upanishad has 4 sections, the first 2 in verse, in meter, and the remaining 2 in prose. The portion in verse deals with the Supreme Brahm, the absolute principle underlying the physical, temporal world, while the prose part deals with the Supreme as Ishwar, as God. The knowledge of the absolute Brahm is the higher knowledge by which immediate liberation, immediate salvation is obtained. This knowledge is possible only for those who are able to withdraw their thoughts from the worldly objects and concentrate on the Absolute. The knowledge of Ishwar or God, on the other hand, which is the lower knowledge, puts one on the path that will eventually lead to liberation, to salvation. The worshipping soul here gradually acquires the higher wisdom, which results in him becoming conscious of the identity of Brahm and of him identifying with and becoming one with Brahm, leading to his salvation. The Upanishad is in the form of a dialogue between the seeker student and the teacher Guru. The Upanishad. The pupil asks the Guru, Respected sir, by whose will and directed by whom does the mind light on its objects? By whose command does life at first move? At whose will do people utter their speech? And what God is it that prompts the eye and the ear to do their respective functions? The Guru replies, The one who does all this is the supreme reality called Brahm, which is behind all these, and which enables all of them to perform their respective functions. He is the ear of the ear, the mind of the mind, the speech of the speech, the breath of the breath, and the eye of the eye, and the eye of the eye. The wise realize and understand this, and having realized this, they then give up all their wrong notions and ideas of their alone being the doers of all this, of their alone being self sufficient in this regard, and departing from the world on their death, they become immortal. Brahm cannot be seen by the eyes, Brahm cannot be described by speech, nor can Brahm be comprehended by the mind. Brahm is beyond the reach and grasp of the mind and the senses. And since knowledge of anything arises through the senses and the mind, and since Brahm is not grasped by either of these, we do not know and we do not understand how one can teach or explain Brahm to anyone. Brahm is other than the known, and it is also other than the not known, the unknown. Indeed, it is above both, the known and the unknown, but it is not as if it is unknowable. So have we heard from the ancients who have explained Brahm to us. Brahm is not that which is expressed through speech, but it is that by which speech is expressed, and not what people hear, think, and worship. That which is not thought by the mind, but by which the mind thinks. Know that truly to be Brahm, and not what people hear, think, and worship. That which is not seen by the eye, but by which the eye sees. Know that truly to be Brahm, and not what the people hear, think, and worship. That which is not heard by the ear, but that by which the ear hears. Know that truly to be Brahm, and not what people hear, think, and worship. That which is not breathed by life, but by which life breathes. Know that truly to be Brahm, and not what people hear, think, and worship. Brahm is the indwelling spirit, who is one with our own deepest self, and not any object external to us. If you think that you have understood Brahm very well, then you know it but little, whether you be a mortal or even a god. So even though you think it is known to you, and also because it is known only partially, only partly, to know it fully, it has to be investigated by you as a student. I do not think that I know it well enough, nor do I think that I do not know it at all. He who among us knows it, and at the same time he does not know that he does not know. Indeed, he is ignorant of his own ignorance. To whomsoever it is not known, to him it is known. To whomsoever it is known, he does not know. In reality, he does not know it. Those who know do not speak. Those who do not know speak. It is not understood by those who think they understand it. It is understood by those who think they do not understand it. When Brahm is known through every state of cognition and consciousness, when it is known in the states of waking, dreaming sleep, and dreamless sleep, when it is known in all these states, only then is it rightly known, and by such knowledge one attains life eternal, one attains immortality. Through one's own self one gains power, and through wisdom one gains immortality. The self is witness of all states of cognition, and to know it as such is true knowledge. If here on earth, while in this physical body, a person knows Brahm, then he knows the truth, and there is great gain, because then he attains moksha, he attains salvation. But if here on earth, while in this physical body, he does not know Brahm, then there is great loss, because then he remains stuck in the cycle of birth and death, and does not attain salvation. Therefore, always seeking and seeing the real, always seeing Brahm in all beings, such a wise man becomes immortal on departing from this world. It is said that Brahm once conquered for the gods, who gloried in that conquest, thinking it was a victory won by them alone. They became conceited, and in their conceit they thought, we alone have won this victory, which is ours alone, as is the greatness on account of this victory. Brahm saw this conceit of the gods. To rid them of their conceit, by his power, he appeared before the gods as a spirit in the sky. Seeing him, the gods did not know who he was, or what his powers were. They said to Agni, the fire god, O Jata Veda, go and find out what the spirit is. Agni said, yes, and rushed towards the spirit to find out what it was. When he reached near it, the spirit asked him, Who are you? And what are your powers? Agni replied, I am Agni. I am the well known Jata Veda, the god of fire. I can burn everything on earth. Brahm placed a blade of grass before Agni and said, burn this. Agni, the fire god, went with all speed towards it, and with all his might tried to burn the blade of grass, but could not. He returned, chastened, to the gods, and said, I could not find out what that spirit is. Then the god said to Vayu, the god of wind, you go and find out what that spirit is. Vayu said yes, and ran towards the spirit to find out what it was. When he reached near it, the spirit who was Brahm asked him, who are you, and what are your powers? Vayu replied, I am Vayu. I am the famous Matriswan. I am the god of the wind, and I can blow off everything on earth. To test him, Brahm again placed a blade of grass before him and said, blow this off. The wind god went with all speed towards it, and with all his might he tried to blow off the blade of grass, but he was not able to blow it off. Chastened, he too returned to the gods and said, I have not been able to find out what that spirit is. Then the gods went to their chief Indra and said, O Maghavan, now you go and find out who that spirit is. Indra said yes, and hastened towards it. But the spirit disappeared from the sky, and in its place, in the same region of the sky, Indra came across the most beautiful Uma, daughter of Himalaya. He asked her, Lady, who is that spirit? Uma replied, the spirit you saw in the sky is Brahm, and it was Brahm who conquered for you, which victory you thought you had won by yourself, and in which all of you have been taking so much pride. Then only, on Uma's telling, did Indra realize that the spirit was Brahm. Therefore, these three gods, Indra, Agni, and Vayu, surpass all the other gods, for it was they that touched Brahm closely, for it was they indeed who were the first to know that it was Brahm. And Indra surpasses all the other gods, since he was the first among the gods to know that it was Brahm. He was in fact the first god to know Brahm. Of this Brahm there is this teaching: Brahm is like a flash of lightning or like the blink of an eye. This is the teaching concerning the gods. This is how the gods see Brahm. He appears before them like a flash of lightning, causing a sudden enlarging of the mind and enlightening of the intellect. Now, the teaching concerning the self. It is this Brahm towards which the mind is always attracted, and towards which it moves inexorably. And it is by the same mind that one remembers Brahm constantly, and one also exercises his free will. Brahm indeed is the object of all desires, and truly it is the dearest of all. It is to be meditated upon as such. Whosoever knows Brahm as such is sought by all beings. All beings seek such a realized one. He is loved by all. The student says to the teacher, Sir, tell me the secret of Brahm. Teach me the Upanishad. The teacher replies, the secret of Brahm has been told to you. We have taught you the Upanishad. Austerities, self control, and work, all these are the support of Brahm. The Vedas are its limbs, and truth is the abode of Brahm. Whosoever knows this, he indeed, in the end, overcomes sin and is firmly established in the Supreme. Yes, he is firmly established in the Supreme. End of Kena Upanishad. Om. Peace. Peace. Peace.